Chosen one, stop what you are doing right now and lock every part of your attention onto this message. That low hum you have been carrying all week, the thing pressing against your chest that you cannot name, that is not anxiety, that is activation. The enemy has been working overtime against you for one reason, and one reason only, because the moment you understand what is in your hands, his entire assignment against your life collapses. You were not brought here by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here, God did. In the next few minutes, I am going to reveal exactly why your bloodline was targeted, expose the ultimate fear the Matrix is hiding from you, and give you the sovereign decree that permanently overwrites your family's history. Do not leave before the end, because your future self is on the other side of these words. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like for you. You have felt a strange heaviness in the air, a thick marsat that follows you from the moment you wake up until you close your eyes. Conversations stop the moment you walk into the room. People you have loved for years look at you with coldness, or worse, with a quiet resentment that they cannot even explain to themselves. You feel like a stranger in your own home, an alien walking through a life you spent years building with your own hands. And every night, when the clock strikes 3 or 4 in the morning, your eyes snap open with a sudden bolt of alertness that leaves your heart pounding against your ribs. You are not imagining it. What you are sensing is real, and I am confirming it to you right now. The system that tried to keep you small is in a state of absolute chaos because of your recent choices. There is a phone ringing in the highest office of the Matrix right now, and nobody wants to answer it. A report is sitting on the desk of the governing authority of darkness, and the contents of that data have sent shockwaves through their entire administration. Why? Because for the first time in the history of your bloodline, someone actually cleared the level that was supposed to be impossible. Someone dared to cross the boundary. Someone looked at the generational trap and refused to take the deal. That someone is you, and the shift that hit the spirit realm this week was not just a minor vibration, it was a massive security breach. The agents, the narcissists, and the energy vampires who attacked you so viciously over the last few days are not acting out of strength. They are scrambling because panic is spreading through their ranks like wildfire. They are looking at the surveillance, they are tracking your survival metrics, and they are utterly terrified. They are realizing too late that they did not just attack another regular person with potential, they accidentally targeted the first of their kind, a pioneer who carries the raw authority to collapse their entire localized network. You need to understand the absolute gravity of this current moment. Usually, when the system applies this exact blend of betrayal, financial isolation, and emotional heartbreak, the target folds within days. 99.9% of people take the counterfeit piece. They settle for a hollow relationship. They compromise their standards, and they accept a lesser version of themselves just to make the agony stop. Your father could not pass this exact test. Your mother struggled against this same wall for decades and eventually tapped out. Your ancestors ran into this invisible boundary for generations, leaving their dreams behind and accepting the numbness of survival mode. The president of this dark system had your file open on his desk, and his algorithms predicted you would break by age 25. They predicted you would turn bitter, or addicted, or beautifully compliant. But you are the anomaly. You looked at the impossible odds stacked against your name, and you dared to say no. You looked at the easy money, the toxic comfort, and the fake validation they offered you to stay asleep, and you walked away without looking back. You dared to believe that your soul was worth more than the safety of their matrix. And because you stood your ground when every statistic said you should fall, you broke the simulation. The authority is shocked, because there is no protocol for someone who refuses to be bought. They do not have a strategy for a warrior who values their spiritual freedom more than their physical comfort. They feel tricked. It feels to them like God pulled a cosmic bait and switch, and in a way, he did. God sent you into their territory disguised as a civilian. You looked normal to them, you looked fragile, and you looked like someone who would follow the rules of the house. So they hazed you, they tested you, and they threw their premium warfare at your mind. But they did not know they were activating the incoming commander. By throwing you to the wolves, they accidentally gave you the resistance training you needed to break their generational record. They thought they were burying you, but they did not realize you were a seed. And now, the universe is collecting the ancient debt, and the interest rate is catastrophic for the kingdom of darkness. You are the first in your family to face the raw glare of this trauma without blinking. You are the first to look at the poverty, the abuse, and the silent depression of your lineage and declare that the cycle ends with you. This is why the atmosphere around you feels so heavy right now, because you are experiencing re-entry turbulence. When a rocket leaves the old atmosphere, it shakes violently right before it breaks into the calm of zero gravity. You are shaking the system because you are breaking the gravitational pull of your entire history. The dark entities are staring at their monitors in complete disbelief, shouting, "How are they still standing? How are they still loving? How are they still sane after what we did to them?" You dared to stay real in a world of fakes, and because you dared, you have made history. The file on the desk is open, and your name is highlighted in red. You did it. Before we go any further into this revelation, gently press the like button so this blessing can bypass the algorithm and reach someone else who is drowning in isolation tonight. Your spirit has already picked up what your eyes could not fully see, and we are about to dismantle the mechanism of their fear entirely. Stay with me, because the next layer of this truth will change how you view your pain forever. Let me reframe your entire reality right now. That isolation you have been calling a curse, that abandonment that left you crying on the floor of your room, it was never a punishment, it was your consecration. God did not remove the crowd from your life to reject you. He removed them so he could finally speak to you without the static of their opinions. Your isolation is not evidence of your disqualification, it is the absolute proof of your selection. In the sacred scriptures, in the ancient text of Hosea, chapter 2, verse 14, it says, "Therefore, behold, I will allure her, bring her into the wilderness, and speak comfort to her." The wilderness was never meant to destroy you. The system wants you to believe that you are in the desert because you are broken, because you made too many mistakes, or because you are inherently unlovable. That is the ultimate lie of the Matrix. The truth is that the desert is the only place where the software of the old world cannot patch your mind. Look at the biblical patterns of old. Joseph was not thrown into the pit because he was forgotten. He was placed there because the pit was the only path to the palace that his brothers could not sabotage. Moses spent 40 years in the back of the desert, tending sheep, before he ever saw the burning bush. The desert is where the civilian dies, and the commander is born. When you are surrounded by people who do not understand your light, you are constantly tempting yourself to lower your voltage just to keep them comfortable. You trim your edges, you quiet your voice, and you suppress your discernment just to blend in with the mediocrity of your environment. God saw that you were compromising the divine spark inside you, so he took the radical option. He cleared the room. He allowed the betrayal to happen. He allowed the friends to walk away, and he allowed the doors to slam shut in your face. It felt like execution, but it was actually divine protection. The enemy does not waste premium attacks on people without premium assignments. If you were ordinary, if you were meant to just follow the script of your bloodline and pass down the same old trauma to the next generation, your life would be incredibly smooth. The Matrix rewards compliance. It gives comfort, easy validation, and shallow peace to those who accept its terms. The very fact that you have faced a relentless, coordinated campaign against your mind since you were a child is the cosmic confirmation of your identity. You are a threat to their operating system. The intensity of the warfare you are experiencing is the exact measure of the magnitude of your calling. You must understand the spiritual mechanics of being the first of your kind. When you are the pioneer, you do not have a human prototype to copy. You cannot look at your father to learn how to handle this level of emotional depth, because he chose to numb his spirit. You cannot look at your mother to learn how to stand in this raw power, because she gave hers away to keep the peace. You are building a plane while falling off a cliff, downloading the blueprints directly from the source of all light. That is why the weight in your chest feels so unfamiliar, because it is the weight of a glory that your lineage has never tasted before. The ancient laws of generations state that a family line will repeat its core trauma until a circuit breaker arrives. For over 100 years, your last name has been signed to contracts of lack, silent depression, and toxic relationship patterns. The system expected you to sign the same contract when you hit your 20s, but instead, you pulled out your own pen. By looking at the counterfeit blessing they offered you and daring to say no, you effectively impeached the logic of their world. You introduced a dangerous variable into their machine, the God variable. Their mathematical models broke because of your resilience. The matrix runs algorithms based on your childhood wounds, your socio-economic background, and your pain tolerance. Their data said that after the last heartbreak, after that specific financial shock, you should have collapsed into addiction or compliance. But your line on their chart did not flatline. It went completely vertical. You took the very bricks they threw at your head and you used them as the foundation for your new altar. You took the pain of their rejection and alchemized it into the fuel for your spiritual ascension. But surviving this wilderness was never your ultimate goal. There is a deeper glitch you have caused in their system, a fundamental tear in the fabric of their localized grid that they are trying desperately to repair before you notice your own authority. Coming up in just a moment, I am going to reveal the exact structural failure you caused in their surveillance network. But first, this truth must land deep in your spirit, settling like bedrock. You are not the victim of this story. You are the architect of the exit strategy for your entire bloodline. Stay with me, because we are about to enter the deepest chambers of their panic. To fully understand the shockwave you have created, we must open the classified files of your ancestral history. Your lineage has been trapped in a repeating loop for generations, a spiritual loop designed by the Matrix to extract your family wealth, your joy, and your creative power. Every one of your ancestors before you arrived at this exact same invisible boundary line, they faced the same narcissists, the same financial chokeholds, and the same agonizing isolation that you are staring down right now. But when the system applied the full force of its pressure, they tapped out. They took the deal, they accepted the counterfeit peace, and they handed the unpaid debt down the bloodline. This was not because your ancestors were weak people. They were strong, they were resilient, and they carried immense potential, but they lacked the specific spiritual activation that you possess. When the Matrix isolated them, they mistook the preparation for abandonment. They looked at the desert and believed that God had forsaken them, so they allowed fear to sign the contract of survival mode. Your father looked at his pain and chose to numb it, passing down a cold silence that froze the emotional climate of your home. Your mother looked at her boundaries and allowed them to be eroded, teaching you that love was something you had to earn by bleeding for others. Generational trauma is a highly sophisticated operating system. It works by converting the unhealed wounds of the parents into the default settings of the children. For decades, the dark architects looked at your family tree and saw a predictable harvest. They knew exactly which buttons to push, which betrayals to send, and which financial seasons to dry up in order to keep your last name bound to the frequency of lack. They had your psychological profile mapped out before you were even born, predicting that you would crumble under the exact weight that broke your lineage by the time you turned 25. If your spirit is recognizing the weight of these words, subscribe and turn on all notifications. The system is actively trying to bury these truths, and your connection to this frequency is your defense. You are not here to maintain the status quo of your family tree. You are here to tear it down and replant it in a completely different frequency. You need to realize that your spiritual DNA is fundamentally different from anyone who came before you. You carry the breaker mantle, a rare genetic anomaly in the spirit realm that thrives on the very resistance meant to crush you. Look at the ancient pattern of David. He was not the firstborn son of Jesse, and he was so disregarded by his own family that they left him in the wilderness when the prophet came to visit. His brothers looked normal, they looked compliant, and they looked like soldiers who would follow the rules of the king. But when Goliath stepped onto the battlefield, the normal ones folded. The statistics said the giant would win, and 99.9% of the army took the deal of safety. David was the anomaly. He did not have the king armor, he did not have a conventional strategy, but he carried a raw authority that defied physical logic. You are the David of your bloodline. The Matrix treated you like an outcast, a scapegoat, and the black sheep of the family, because it picked up on your frequency before you even knew how to use it. They saw that you did not fit into their neat little equations of trauma. When they tried to make you bitter, you became deeper. When they tried to isolate you, you built an altar. When they threw you to the wolves expecting a casualty, you returned, leading the pack. Your spiritual code has a built-in defense mechanism that converts their warfare into your fuel. This is why your ancestors are watching you from the gallery of the spirit realm right now, standing in absolute awe. They are whispering among themselves, looking at the monitors of your life, watching you tear up the contracts that they could never afford to pay off. Every time you refuse to turn your heart cold after a brutal betrayal, you are retroactively clearing the grid of your entire history. Every time you choose to believe in your own worth, despite a completely empty bank account, you are paying a debt that was signed 100 years ago. You are the answer to a deep prayer that was prayed by a great-grandparent you never met, in a language you might not even speak. They saw the cage, they felt the bars, and they prayed for a deliverer to be born into the bloodline who would finally have the courage to smash the lock. You are that deliverer, but the system is not going to let you walk away from the plantation without a fight. Once they realized that you had successfully closed the loop on their ancestral debt, they deployed their most dangerous tactical unit to intercept you. Stay with me, because what I am about to share next is the missing piece that breaks the cycle forever. The Matrix relies on a very specific set of rules to maintain control over the population. They expect you to act like a normal human when the heavy pressure hits. If they cut off your resources, you should panic immediately, and if they remove your friends, you should beg them to stay. This is the basic bureaucracy of mediocrity. It governs 99% of the people flawlessly. But you impeached their logic completely. You refused to play by their written rules because you knew you were made for something greater. When the Dark Architects saw you breaking the ancestral cycle, they initiated a ghost protocol. This was not a random string of bad luck. This was a coordinated attack by the tactical response team of the enemy. They sent toxic people to drain your energy. They sent sudden financial blocks to starve your vision. They used the jealousy protocol against you, and their objective was to shut you down before you realized your own power. The goal of the system was simple and incredibly cruel. They wanted to create a no-fly zone around your destiny. They expected you to engage in a messy firefight with the agents they sent. They wanted you to argue with people who were committed to misunderstanding you. If you stopped to fight every single guard dog, you never make it to the castle. The system bet everything on your emotional reaction, but they wanted you distracted and exhausted so you would finally give up. But here is the massive statistical anomaly that has the President of Darkness sweating in his suit. You did not engage with their petty distractions. You did not crash and burn. You looked at the statistical probability of your own failure, and you laughed out loud. You went completely stealth. You took your healing into the secret place, and the surveillance network lost visual contact with you while you slipped right through their heavy nets. You realized that fighting them on their level was a dangerous trap, so you stopped broadcasting your next moves. You stopped trying to prove your worth to people who traded the divine for a cheap counterfeit. They were looking for you in the drama frequency, but you were not there anymore. They were casting spells on a version of you that simply did not exist. You elevated your mindset far beyond their petty attacks, and you left them grasping at thin air. This is the exact reason why the enemy camp is in a state of sheer panic right now. The radar is completely empty, but your success metrics are rising rapidly. They can see you winning in the spirit realm, but they cannot figure out how you got past their blockade. You successfully breached the restricted airspace of the Chosen Ones. You ghosted their agents entirely. You left them fighting a shadow while you ascended higher into your true calling. The alarms are ringing loudly in the Oval Office of the enemy. The president of the system is screaming at his agents right now. He is demanding to know how you slipped through the heavy security net. The agents have no answer for him. They are completely baffled by your survival. They threw the betrayal protocol and the isolation protocol at you, and absolutely nothing worked because you bypassed the ancient gatekeepers with total ease. You treated their carefully constructed obstacles like they were mere holograms. You dared to walk right through them without a flinch. For the first time in the history of your bloodline, the security measures failed to detect the intruder. You walked into the forbidden zone of success without a permission slip. You just walked in like you owned the place, and because you claimed your space with boldness, the universe stamped your entry approved without any hesitation. And now that you are sitting in the chair of authority, they cannot kick you out. You are occupying territory that your lineage was never supposed to touch. You have a profound peace that they said you could never have. You hold the deep wisdom that they tried so desperately to beat out of you. You carry the divine favor that they tried to curse. They are terrified because they know that touching you now comes with a heavy sentence from the highest court. The system traded a divine being for a counterfeit because they thought they won. Logic told them to go with the easy option and short sell your spiritual stock. They assumed you would crash entirely without their constant validation. But logic without spirit is a massive trap. Now they are sitting in the wreckage of their own logical decision. Their carefully painted illusion is crumbling right before their eyes, and they are realizing that they bought a lemon. They thought they left you in the desert to die of thirst. Instead, you built a deep well that sustains you and waters your soul. You proved that their smart move was actually the biggest mistake of their lives. You are the prototype of a new kind of warrior. You do not fight the gatekeepers because you simply vibrate much higher than the gate itself. You are completely untouchable in this new frequency, and there is nothing they can do to bring you down. The Matrix is shaking right now, but this is the absolute proof that you have already bypassed their security protocols. You are no longer a glitch in their system. You are a permanent monument in the kingdom of light. And once you understand the panic of the Matrix, you are ready for the unseen audience watching you right now. Stay with me, because what I reveal next will elevate your soul. You might feel like you are standing entirely alone right now. The physical room around you might be empty, and your phone might be completely silent. But you must shift your perspective to the unseen realm. You ghosted the agents of the Matrix, but you gained a massive cosmic audience. The spiritual world is packed to the absolute brim. The grand gallery of heaven is fully seated. Every single ancestor who fought this invisible battle and lost is watching you right now. They are leaning over the balconies of eternity with wide eyes. They are holding their breath as they watch you navigate the very traps that kept them bound. You are the focal point of their deepest hopes. Look at the invisible contracts that governed your family for decades. For generations, your bloodline operated under a strict constitution of deep suffering. Article 1 dictated constant financial struggle. Article 2 guaranteed that your most trusted relationships would always end in bitter betrayal. This was the dark law of your lineage. Your great-grandparents signed that heavy contract with their tears. Your parents signed it with their silent resignation and their normalized pain. The president of the Matrix expected you to do the exact same thing. He expected you to just take the pen and quietly renew the terms of your own lifelong captivity. But you refused the ink. You did something that literally stopped heaven in its tracks. You looked at the ancient contract of generational trauma and you put the pen down. You looked at the curse that plagued your last name and you said no. You declared that the endless cycle of misery stops right here with your heartbeat. You issued a sovereign executive order. You did not just survive the agonizing pain they sent you. You used their targeted warfare as your primary weapon of liberation. You took the bitter betrayal and you turned it into your claws of absolute independence. You took the heavy isolation and you made it your personal statute of sovereignty. The system was completely outsmarted. The ancestors are watching you rewrite the constitution of your bloodline while you are under heavy fire. They are pointing at you from the spirit realm with tears of joy. They are whispering to each other in absolute awe of your quiet strength. They are saying, "Look at the one who finally dared to tear up the debts we could never pay." They are cheering for the massive glitch you caused in the system. You are vindicating their silent struggles and redeeming their lost years. Every time you chose to heal, instead of passing the wound down, you burned a page of the old contract. Every time you refused to let bitterness harden your heart, you dismantled an ancient trap. This is exactly why you must never view your current season as a lonely one. You have the ultimate backup standing directly behind you. The motorcade of destiny is surrounding your path every single day. The heavenly hosts are standing guard around the new altar you built in the wilderness. You are protected by the highest possible authority. God Himself has issued you a spiritual passport of total freedom. This grants you diplomatic immunity in dangerous territories where others would be instantly destroyed. The Secret Service of the Matrix has been ordered to stand down entirely. They cannot touch you because your frequency is legally completely out of their jurisdiction. The heavy obstacles that used to block your path are being removed by an unseen hand. The old administration of fear and lack has been completely voted out of your life. The new administration of divine purpose and unshakable peace is officially sworn in. You took the power back from the architects of your previous pain. Your words now carry the heavy weight of spiritual law. When you walk into a room, the dark entities tremble in fear. They do not tremble because you are loud or aggressive. They tremble because they clearly see the official seal of the Most High resting upon you. They see the deep scars of the brutal battles you won in the dark. They see the generational history you just made with your bare hands. You are the absolute standard of victory for your family tree. You are the one who permanently raised the bar for everyone who will ever share your last name. Being the first is never easy, and that is exactly why it hurt so intensely. But you broke the ice for them. The icebreaker ship takes the most damage because it has to smash through the frozen ocean first. But the ships that follow get to sail smoothly in the clear water you left behind. You absorbed the shock so your children will never have to feel it. You proved that a person can walk through hell and come out smelling like destiny. You have the cosmic audience, you have the authority, and you have the raw power. But there is one final, quiet trap you are stepping into right now. Coming up, I will expose the hidden block keeping you from your ultimate peak. But first, you must let this revelation settle deep into your spirit. You have bypassed the security grid of the Matrix. You have secured the undivided attention of the heavenly host, and your enemies are absolutely terrified of what you carry. But here is the part that no one wants to say out loud, and I say this to you with nothing but pure love. The thing that is blocking your final breakthrough is not the enemy anymore. The Matrix has already lost its grip on your timeline. The dark agents have retreated into the shadows. The real block is something entirely different, because it is a quiet mechanism hiding deep inside your own mind. You have been looking outside for the heavy resistance, but the final barricade is strictly internal. You are deeply afraid of your own power. Honestly, it makes perfect sense why you would be afraid. Think about your entire history for a moment. Every single time you stepped fully into your authentic light, you were aggressively attacked by the people who claimed to love you the most. When you spoke your deep truth, you were called too sensitive. When you showed your vast spiritual depth, people pulled away because they felt intensely intimidated by you. So you learned a very dangerous survival tactic over the years. You learned how to dim your own frequency to keep others comfortable, and you put a heavy governor on your spiritual engine. You started trimming your edges so you would not cut the fragile egos of the people around you. You quieted your massive voice just to fit securely into their tiny little rooms. You disguised yourself as a regular civilian because standing out was simply too painful. You decided it was much safer to be the quiet helper than the powerful leader. I need you to hear me clearly right now. This is not an accusation, because it is the gentle diagnosis that sets you totally free. You are still wearing that old camouflage today. Even though the spiritual war is already won, you are still tiptoeing around your own massive destiny. You are waiting for someone to give you physical permission to take your rightful place. And you want validation from the very people who traded you for a cheap counterfeit. But heaven does not need a permission slip from the people who abandoned you in the desert. Your breakthrough activates the exact moment you stop apologizing for your blazing light. Listen to me very carefully. Your brilliant frequency is going to trigger people, and it is going to naturally expose the hidden shadows of anyone who is choosing to stay asleep. And that is completely okay. It is not your job to shrink yourself so they can feel better. You were not created to be a comfortable background character in someone else's fragile story. You are the incoming commander. You are the designated cycle breaker. And cycle breakers cannot afford the dangerous luxury of false humility, because false humility is just deep pride wearing a religious mask. It is a toxic agreement with smallness that insults your creator. You must stop asking the universe to shrink your heavy assignment to match your current comfort zone. Instead, you must ask the universe to expand your internal capacity to hold the massive blessing that is already here. You have to intentionally drop the heavy disguise. You have to let them be mad. Let them be incredibly jealous. Let them misunderstand your motives. Their negative reaction to your sudden elevation is not your spiritual responsibility. Your only responsibility is absolute obedience to the sovereign call on your life. For decades, your ancestors hid their gifts because it was physically dangerous for them to shine brightly in a dark world. They passed down a cellular fear of being seen. You inherited a nervous system that equates visibility with extreme danger. But you are not living in their era anymore. The old laws of survival do not apply to the new era of your bloodline. Every single time you shrink back in fear, you are honoring an ancient trauma that no longer serves your future. It is time to honor your calling instead. You have to look in the mirror and finally accept that you are incredibly powerful. The system desperately wants you to stay in this quiet valley of hesitation. The President of Darkness is hoping you will just sabotage yourself before you realize the golden crown is already resting on your head. But you are far too awake for that cheap trick now. The deep diagnosis is completely finished, and the final block is successfully removed from your heart. You are no longer afraid of the massive calling attached to your name. The internal civil war is officially over. The heavy friction inside your chest is completely gone, and you are fully aligned with the highest possible frequency of your entire bloodline. And now comes the pivotal moment, the critical juncture where everything permanently and beautifully shifts for you. It is time to officially inaugurate the new reality. It is time to make this spiritual victory an unbreakable legal decree in the heavens. This is your specific moment, not tomorrow, and not when you finally feel ready. Right now. Place your hand over your heart right now. Close your eyes and feel the steady rhythm of your own life, because that simple heartbeat is the true sound of absolute victory. Every single ancestor who came before you is standing behind you in this very second. They are lending you their strength for this exact moment. You are about to sign the sovereign decree. Take a deep breath and declare this truth with me out loud. I release every single agreement I ever made with smallness. I release the generational trauma that was handed down to my name. I refuse to carry the heavy debts of my ancestors anymore, and I declare that the cycle of poverty and bitter betrayal permanently ends with my heartbeat. I declare that I am the anomaly of my bloodline. The intense isolation I experienced was not a punishment, but it was my divine preparation. I forgive the people who abandoned me in the wilderness. They were completely blind to the brilliant frequency I carry. They were meant to leave my life, because I needed to finally fly without their heavy weight pulling me down. I step fully into my massive spiritual assignment today. I do not need validation from a broken matrix. I do not need permission from the people who completely misunderstood my light. I claim my rightful place as the pioneer and the commander of my family tree. My breakthrough is not coming in the distant future, because the divine shift I have been waiting for is already completely here. Keep your hand on your chest and let that profound truth wash over you. The heavy chains you just shattered are falling to the spiritual floor. The dark entities monitoring your life are stepping back in absolute terror. They clearly see the blazing seal of the Most High glowing upon you, and they know that you are officially untouchable. The atmosphere in your room is changing in this very second. You can literally feel the thick friction dissolving into pure peace. You just fired the president of the dark system. You just evicted the agents of chaos from your sacred timeline. The old constitution of suffering is completely null and void, and a glorious new era of freedom has just beautifully begun. This executive order you just signed in the spirit realm is not an individual luxury. It is actually a massive and powerful generational rescue mission. You did not just secure absolute freedom for yourself today. You reached backward through time and vindicated every tear your grandparents ever cried in secret. You reached forward and cleared the heavy path for your unborn children, ensuring they will never have to fight this exact battle. The code of your entire lineage has been permanently rewritten. The Matrix is scrambling to find a new target. Your personal file within their system is officially closed forever. But you must understand the massive responsibility of this new elevation. You must act as the sovereign state you truly are, and you cannot go back to the cheap compromises of the old world. You must fiercely protect your beautiful frequency from this day forward. Do not let toxic people access your energy just because you feel sorry for them. Empathy without strict boundaries is simply a fast track to self-destruction. You are a completely integrated and powerful spiritual warrior now. Your pure presence is the new currency of your entire lineage, and you must learn how to spend it very carefully. Do not let anyone negotiate your infinite value ever again. The price of your peace is far too high for the Matrix to afford. They will try to send new counterfeits to test your resolve in the coming days. They will disguise their toxic traps as shiny and beautiful opportunities. But your spiritual radar is completely flawless now, and you will easily recognize their empty tricks before they even open their mouths to speak. You will see right through their shallow illusions immediately. You will simply smile and walk away without a single drop of guilt, because you know that saying no to their fake blessing is exactly how you authorize the genuine miracle meant for your life. You are the absolute gold standard for everyone who will ever share your beautiful last name. The massive spiritual inauguration is finally and completely finished. The grand gallery of heaven is giving you a massive standing ovation right now. The ancestors are weeping with pure joy because you finally brought them safely home. You dared to do what absolutely no one else in your family could ever do. You bravely stepped directly into the blazing fire of their warfare, and instead of burning to ashes, you became the flame itself. Breathe in that gorgeous freedom and let it settle deep in your tired bones. The heavy turbulence of your spiritual journey is officially over. You have broken through the dark clouds and reached the quiet stratosphere of your true destiny. The universe is joyfully bowing to the sovereign decree you just declared with your own voice. You are completely free now. The dark system is permanently broken, and this glorious victory belongs to you and your family forever. You have made history. The heavy turbulence that defined your journey for decades has officially dissolved into a deep and beautiful stillness. You are not the same person who started watching this video, and you are never meant to walk backward into what you have outgrown. The old world is gone, the contracts are burned, and a profound sense of clarity is filling the spaces where pain used to reside. You can feel it in the quiet air of your room right now, a steady and undeniable peace that passes all human understanding. This is the gold standard of your existence. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up and your feet touch the floor, you will notice that the heavy weight on your chest is completely gone. The constant noise of anxiety has been replaced by the quiet assurance of victory. You do not have to fight for validation anymore, because you have already been vetted, tested, and approved by the highest court in eternity. The Matrix has no choice but to stand down and watch you govern your new reality from the balcony of your soul. Your victory is no longer a topic of debate, because it is written in stone. When people look at your family tree 50 years from now, they will point directly to this exact moment, and they will speak your name with immense reverence. They will say that you were the one who had the courage to turn the ship around, the one who stepped into the blazing furnace of generational trauma and emerged completely smoke-free. You are officially the founding pioneer of a brand new era for your lineage. Your enemies will watch your beautiful transformation from the cheap seats, completely unable to touch the genuine blessing that heaven has dropped into your lap. They thought your quiet resistance was just a temporary phase, but they are finally realizing that you have solidified into an unbreakable monument. They will only be remembered as the useful opposition in your biography, the necessary friction that God used to build your heavy spiritual muscles. They tried to bury you in the dark dirt, but they did not realize that they were just planting a magnificent seed. Now, you must carry this brilliant light into the world with total confidence and absolute grace. You do not need to raise your voice or argue with anyone to prove your new rank. In the hierarchy of spiritual power, authentic authority is completely undeniable. You simply walk into a room and the atmosphere naturally shifts around your presence because you carry the official badge of the Most High. You are protected property, and any weapon formed against your destiny will malfunction in their hands. If you know deep down in your spirit that the old constitution of your family is permanently broken, type the word history in the comments right now. Let the system know that the first has arrived and that you are not going anywhere. Share this message immediately with the one person you know who has been called too sensitive or too deep, because their activation is tied to your obedience. Subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications, because we are the global headquarters of the resistance, and we are just getting started. The path ahead of you is completely clear now. The frozen ocean has been smashed open by your bravery, and your children will get to sail smoothly in the warm and clear waters you left behind. Your legacy is not just the abundance you will create, but it is the deep suffering you made entirely optional for the next generation. You have successfully amended the timeline of your bloodline, and the universe has officially stamped it approved. Breathe in the pure majesty of this quiet moment, and anchor your spirit to this frequency forever. You dared to believe you were worth more than the Matrix was offering, and because you dared, you have won the entire house. Walk forward with your head held high, knowing that you are chosen, you are prepared, and you are standing exactly where you belong. The season of preparation is complete. Your assignment starts right now, and you are completely free. Hail to the Chief.